Joining me now in studio is the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University of Johannesburg, Professor Tinyiko Maluleke. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been watching this media briefing, as all of us have. What about the Guptas?
Well, that's the question. What about the Guptas? Because it seems to me that in the forest of things that the minister has said, there is a glaring omission of the culpability or not of the Guptas. There is a number of investigations that have been announced that will take place, but the Guptas are not in the purview of any of the investigations. And that, I think, is what is... If you just recall at the beginning of your insert now how the Guptas have tried this and tried that and tried another thing until they succeeded. Surely they were very willful and very directed in their action. And surely there must be an act or a law or a rule that they have contravened too. But it seems that they have been left out of the investigations. Perhaps one of the departments will include investigating the Guptas, but I think it's significant. The omission at this press conference is quite a significant one.
Of course, that's if we're to take this at face value, because the other people left out of this are the ministers, not really taking any responsibility at all, saying it's corrupt civil servants who have been coerced into granting favours.
Yeah. Yes, the other elephant in the room. The other elephant in the room is how accountable are our ministers? Because it sounds to me as if the ministers are saying to us, we did not know. We were not given the opportunity to know about it. We did not act because we did not know. A number of individuals acted, and we are going to go after these individuals. But they are the accountable people. And it is interesting that none of the investigations appear to bring the ministers themselves into investigation, because name dropping is a consequence of a culture, and people are dropping names because it has worked and because it works. Now, if you are not going to deal with that which works when you drop names, you simply pursue the people who are dropping names. You're not really, you're just dealing with the symptoms of the problem. So for me, that is an important thing, the accountability of our ministers. They don't even say, I mean, there's not even an admission that we fell asleep, we slept on the job. At least if there was that admission, you would say perhaps something can be done about it. It's been relegated to a level of people who acted in concert. The furthest I think they went was to point a finger at the High Commission of India for acting outside of protocol. That's quite serious. But that must be counterbalanced with the advice from the president that relations with India must not be compromised or jeopardized at any cost.
Yeah. That has huge potential to cause quite a big diplomatic incident. It also suggests, perhaps, that they are speaking the truth about this, because surely you wouldn't make such a serious allegation against the Indian High Commission if you didn't have your facts. Or am I wrong?
Look, I think we have to respect the fact that they have taken even the trouble to have this press conference, obviously. They're trying to, it's a gesture to the citizenry of this country that you matter, that we have heard your concerns, that we are investigating, and that will tell you as much truth as we know. And I suspect that there is truth that the Indian High Commission acted irregularly, at least until we hear what the results of the investigations are. But the question is, what makes it possible for such a high-ranking official to fall victim to the game of name-dropping? What is the power of the Guptas? Not just in relation to the Indian High Commission, but also in relation to the South African government. Because Sally, this is a monumental failure of governance. It's a monumental failure of political accountability. There's no two ways about it. And no investigation will sort of soften that. It is not only a publicity disaster, a reputational disaster for the country, it's a failure of governance. Now, if governance fails this dismally and this spectacularly, my sense is that you want to do more than just have separate investigations of little details. You also want to look at the big issues. How did we get here? How can we make sure we don't get here? I don't think we can make sure we don't get here by following the small guys. I think we need to get to the heart of the logic that is driving this sort of thing to happen. I mean, we happen to know about this. The question is how many things are going on that we don't know about.
At the very least, we've got government ministers who are out of touch, who don't know what's happening further down the line, which is a very serious indictment. At worst, we have government ministers who are trying to cover up for something they've done wrong. And you speak about the culture of accountability, but we haven't spoken about Jacob Zuma, because he is known to have an incredibly close relationship with the Guptas. Where does he feature in all of this? Clearly nowhere in the press conference, but in terms of the broader situation here, surely that relationship has got to shift.
The closest this press conference came to speaking about President Jacob Zuma is in the reference to name dropping as something that's going to be investigated, but it doesn't take us any further. It seems to me that the Gupta relations with the elite and government and the president in this country is no longer just a matter between the Guptas and Jacob Zuma. I think that the Guptas have got a lot more friends in government than just President Jacob Zuma. I mean, if the wedding is anything to go by as to who was invited, whether they went or not. So I think even to say that, what about his relations with the Gupta, that question is a little late. I think the Guptas are related to many people in power in South Africa than just the president. And that's the problem, that aspect of it is not, it seems to me, is not being investigated. But I'm careful to say that because I haven't seen the whole report and read it in detail.
Professor, thank you so much for sharing your views. That was really insightful, giving us great insight there into this developing story. That was Professor Tinyiko Maluleke, Deputy Vice-Chancellor at the University of Johannesburg.
News that moves. eNCA.com.